Before I start the episode of Dad is Not a Noun, I want to thank my sponsor, the Real Dads Network. The Real Dads Network is a resource and network organization that provides information and opportunities to improve the lives of Black fathers. Through activities and events, the RDN promote and portray positive Black fathers worldwide. For more information on the Real Dads Network, go to www.realdadsnetwork.org, as well as the link will be in the description below.
It's all for you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
Daddy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another amazing episode of Dad is Not a Noun. My name is Ishmael. Hope everyone's doing well. Oh man, that video that went viral on IG, Twitter, 1.2 million views. A father surprised his son in the middle of the night, and just the raw emotion of it just played with my heartstrings.
I didn't know that video went viral already. I thought that was a private thing.
Can I finish? Can I finish, bro? I love you, man. Can I finish?
I'll interrupt you later.
Okay. But the person that really interrupted me is a special guest with me, co-host Boyd. Hi, Boyd. How you doing? Thank you for interrupting me. How you doing, brother?
I'm that guy.
Yes, you are. Tell people who you are.
I'm the guy that interrupted.
No more, please.
I'll tell after. Keep talking about the video, please.
No. Tell people more about yourself. We'll introduce.
I'm a fellow Army's veteran. I'm a major in the Army Reserve, West Point graduate, and I was deployed in 2018 to Iraq and spent some time in Kuwait, a little bit of time in Upper Erbil, which is unofficial Kurdistan. And I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here, brother. I love you, man. And my other co-host, the one and only Uncle Mike from the Real Dads Network. Introduce yourself, Uncle Mike.
Yeah, I'm Uncle Mike, and I'm part of the Real Dads Network. I'm a facilitator there, and proud father and grandfather. And I'm just really, it's a blessing to be here, and just to be a co-host with Ishmael. It's making my day.
Oh, thank you, Uncle Mike. I love you too, Uncle Mike. You're amazing. And then our special guest, like I was rudely interrupted by my brother Boyd. The video went 1.2 million views. I don't know how he was able to do it, because like the stuff I know about, trying to being deployed and trying to you get a pass and you get a chance to see your family, but he was able to sneak out and see his son, and that raw emotion of his son seeing his father, it just brought tears to my eyes. I cry a lot. I ain't gonna front. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my emotions, and I'm proud to have this man on. And first of all, thank you for your service. Also, Boyd, thank you for your service.
Well, and he didn't sneak out because that means he did something he wasn't supposed to.
Okay, educate me. Educate me. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, he was on pass, but he didn't tell us.
He was on pass. Thank you.
I had to get my man in trouble.
I'm truly honored to have this brother on. Ralph Watts, thank you for coming on, sir. How you doing? Man?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Yeah.
And sorry for the long intro and long and the interruption by Boyd. I apologize for that, but it's in good love and laughter. But thank you for coming on. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I'm draining. I don't have COVID, so if I sound a little raspy, that's what's going on. Went from one climate to the next, so it's having an effect on me.
I feel you, brother. I'm with you too. I just took my second shot of the vaccine, so I'm kind of feeling it myself too. But we rough it through.
That's right.
But take me back to that video. All right, that emotional video.
Yeah,
take us back to that time.
So, man, basically, I snuck in town. My kids didn't know I was coming. My wife did. She booked me a flight. I told her I wanted to see his last game of the season. And I snuck in town, man. And that morning, I woke him up before school. It kind of just like, rubbed him a little bit. And he didn't realize it was me. He thought it was his mom. That's why you heard him kind of grunt a little bit, like, not really. But when I kind of leaned over and got close to him, he kind of was like, wait a minute, them touches feel a little different. So he woke up, man, and was that raw emotion when he saw me. So, yeah, he's happy to see me, man. Me and my son are very close, very close.
And then you have a daughter too.
Yes.
She was in that video. What was her reaction when she saw you?
Actually, when I came home, my daughter was in the bed with my wife. So I picked her up, and then she's like, wait a minute, Daddy. And she was still asleep, halfway asleep, but she held on me tight. When you pick up your kids and take them to their bed, she held on me tight, and she's not as emotional as my son, but she was also happy to see me.
Oh, wow. Boy, you have a question.
Yeah, I do.
No, I'm listening. No, I have a question, but I'll ask after Uncle Mike goes.
Okay.
Yeah, Ralph. So, how long hadn't your son seen you? Like, how long was?
Well, roughly between 4.5, 5 months.
Wow. And I just want to know what was going through your mind while he was responding in such a emotional and beautiful way.
So it just feel natural, man. It's like a natural response, right? Like it's like that's the way it's supposed to happen. Or that's the response that I'm supposed to get because we're just connected in that way. And it was a bond that, I had an old mother, church mother. She said, when your son is born, do flesh to flesh and have him like kind of under your armpit just a little bit so he can kind of smell you and feel you. And once you do that, they'll forever be connected to you. And you can kind of mold them and groom them in a way. And that's just like a little hidden, secret, ritual. The old mothers be knowing some stuff that work. I'll never forget when she told me that, and I did it, and it worked, man. So everything now is kind of natural. I don't have to yell at him. I can remember spanking him probably once, but everything else, it's just kind of, I just tell him and he kind of do it. Not that he's a perfect child. It's just I have that connection with him.
Wow. You have another question?
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm just, that's incredible because, the narrative that you hear about, especially men of color,
yeah,
that we're not there, we don't show up.
Right.
It's just great that we're showing the world that we have changed the narrative. It's not what
Right.
they say about us, you know, and
Exactly.
that's powerful. That is powerful.
Right, right.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
powerful.
we are changing the narrative, man. And it's unfortunate that situation like mine's and you guys, you know, your great fathers, it's not being highlighted because, as you know, the disruption of the family is big business. And you know that if you don't have a structure in the home, more than likely the children will be products of the system. So they don't want to highlight things like that because it's not it don't generate money. And, you know, so that's why we have to change the narrative.
And what I found very powerful is that we've been taught that men do not cry, do not
Right,
show emotion. So that's why it resonated with me in such a powerful way.
right.
My question to you is
Hmm.
that something that you learned from your dad, or is that
Hmm.
something you changed once you had a son?
The
Where
first time, I'm sorry, the
no, go
first
ahead.
time I seen my dad show emotion or raw emotion is when I graduated basic training.
Oh, really?
Other than that, my dad was not a crier. My mom wasn't. You know, my mom and dad was divorced. Although they was divorced, my dad was still in the picture. So that divorce, you know, if I can recall, if I can think back, I'm thinking that they both had to play a role where they didn't show sensitivity because it was more of survival. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I don't have time to be weak. I need to show my son that he had to get up to go to work like I do. He's in a society where he can't really show emotion because somebody will take advantage of him. So I had to learn to be emotional. You know, just some trials and tribulations, just you know, in my life, you know, required for me to be emotional. Um, and it's just something I had to practice. I had to learn how my children respond. You know, 7 love languages. My son, he responds with physical touch. You
Okay.
know, so you know, when I talk to him, you know, I talk with my hands around him. You know, he don't respond well to yelling. So, you know, I talk to him in a way. So it just some things I had to pick up and put in my tool belt in order to get my son to respond.
Wow.
That's powerful. We have me and your son. We have a connection. My love,
Okay.
my love language is physical touch. Also,
Okay. Great. Great. Yep. Yep. Yep.
it's just so great that a father has educated himself so to find out that there are 5 love languages.
Right. 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 Right.
And
Fine.
connect with our kids. That's so
Right.
powerful. Just to
Yeah,
be
man. 'Cause it's a science, man.
yeah.
It's you know, my background is mental health. Um, 15 years of mental health counseling, primarily in the Department of Corrections. I'm licensed mental health counselor, but it's a science, man, to develop relationships, just not even with your family, and just with people. You gotta understand, man. We all are interconnected, and that's what the universe also. You know, I don't get into hard thoughts, but I do believe in signs. Your signs is just basically how your personality. So I learned all that about my wife, my kids, put it all together, man, and
And
so far
connect
it's working.
and connect, right?
Interconnect, right,
Yeah.
right.
Because
And
that
talk,
connection was strong. I
Yeah,
mean, you couldn't try to script that. That was
right.
real.
Yeah,
That
man,
was raw
authentic,
emotions. Yeah.
authentic. Exactly.
definitely. And talking about connection, Boyd, you got a question? Boyd.
Yeah, where were you mobbed out of?
Like where I'm molded out now.
Yeah, that you got
So
where they got you at.
I can say I'm Eastern. Well, I'm Western. How can I say?
On the 48 Continental, if you're Conus, right?
I'm Conus, Dip West.
Okay. So my father is a retired first sergeant, and I
Okay.
remember when I was in 3rd grade,
Mm-hmm.
stationed at a base. They moved him to a base. My mother wanted to keep us in Brooklyn so I could stay in the same schools.
Mm-hmm.
So there were three of us, my older sister, younger brother, and then my mother by herself working full time. And I don't know how she managed because I was a troublemaker at home
Yeah.
with my siblings all the time. And my father was moved to the Presidio, which is right under the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And that was supposed to be a 2-year deal. And halfway through that, he got picked up for the Sergeant Major's Academy. So spent that next year there. For 2 years, third and fourth grade, I saw my father once every 4 months, maybe.
Yeah.
And you have certain memories in your childhood that you can still feel and see. You don't remember a lot of the in-betweens, but
Right.
these episodes, the
Yeah.
ones that stick out for me are me calling him on the phone, crying, "When are you coming home? I miss you, Daddy."
Mm.
I thought my father was God.
Yeah.
God. And my father grew up very hard, being this complexion in Compton and Watts. So
Yeah.
touch was not part of his love language outside of I had to kiss him on his forehead all the time.
Yeah.
That was always there. And he kind of trained me the same way as your son, but he started that very early with as a baby holding me, but kiss on the forehead where if I was ever acting up, he would cut his eyes and put his hand to the belt and take out just one thing from the loop and just look, and we froze.
Yep.
Never had to put his hands on us.
Right.
Touch. But what got me more emotional was I'm not a daddy yet, so it wasn't your perspective. It was my boy's perspective.
Right.
Because I remember, you know what? I just remembered this. When we flew and landed, when we picked him up to the Sergeant Major's Academy, because he finished and they asked him to stay on and be an instructor. So we flew out to him and then we drove to California, then drove past cross country. And I remember on the plane when it landed, I have this memory. I said to my mother this is now the end of 2 years, when we landed and he was waiting for us, before we saw him, I said, "Mommy, as soon as we see Daddy, does this mean we're a family again?" I just remembered at 10 years old, because I knew that was it. We didn't have to be apart any longer.
Yeah.
I remember it was an adjustment at that age for like that first year. I couldn't believe he wasn't going to leave again. It was weird. Like my father lives with us. Because I didn't really, it happened 8 and 9. So you don't really remember 7, 6, 5, those ages, or 4. So like the years that I started to remember my childhood, I didn't have a father at home. He was out serving. And that he was home. And I always had this little fear that he was going to be gone again. Like it took a couple of years that my daddy's always home. I always see him. And that's the life of a service member. It'll be interesting as your son develops, if when he gets to a point, that he understands the emotions he was going through now, if that was something he was able to realize he was feeling too. Did I start getting nervous that my father was going to leave at any moment?
Right.
How long did it take?
He's already asking that when you come back home, do you have to go back?
Go again. Yep. And then wondering how long it's going to take in his mind. Whereas I have a permanent daddy. Like I don't wait. He's here. He's not borrowed. And those 2 years sucked. Like they sucked in my childhood. And I rose hell from my mother with my siblings. Yeah. She had to deal with it. And I'm not easy to deal with. But whenever she'd say, "I'm going to tell your father," I froze. He was there, even when he was there. And when I did act up and she said, "I'm telling your father," and he got on the phone with me, I froze on the phone. But that was because he trained me the way you're training your boys. That young age, training for the world coming on out. And it's interesting when you say your son's love language. So my love language, one of them significantly, is touch. Not my father's, and my daddy's sick now. It's Parkinson's. I help take care of him. And I'm physically stronger than him now too. And I go to him and I mess with him and kiss him all over his face when he's laying in bed, all over. And his nickname is Bootsy. And I'll start speaking to him in like a little baby voice to really F with him. And "Come here, Bootsy baby. Come here, baby." He'll be like, "Negro, get off of me." And I'm like, "Whatever, you got to take it. I'm stronger." And just the other day, he was having an episode of not really being so in touch with reality. And my mother asked me for help, and I put him in his bed and I laid next to him and I put his head on top of my arm, and I kind of came physically bigger than him, and I put it in like this, and I cuddled him into me, and I just kept rubbing the top of his head.
Yeah.
You know, talk about trippy, like this was the dude when I was a little kid, and now he's my baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy, I have a question for you though.
What's up?
What would you tell the fathers that are serving, you know, from a son's perspective? What can they do to support their boys, not just their boys, their daughters, their children? You know, from your perspective, what would you tell a man that is serving, you know, a father that is serving?
You mean if he's away from home?
While he's away from home, to try to keep the connection, or just any words that
Well, you know, we didn't have technology back then. So I remember when I was downrange, I'm guessing this is when you WhatsApped all the time, or time when you could. I used to see late at night with the time zone, like 1 a.m, everyone would be out doing that, and that keep that communication so they're not alone. It's a blessing, and I'm sure you're doing that. And I would imagine you can't help but do that because that's your baby. You got to be eyes on as much as you can.
That's right.
And that's stay in their business.
Yep.
That's what, you know. It's almost like Ish and I. We live far apart. We're in each other's business all the time during the week. Technology is amazing when it comes to that. And I remember when I was downrange, it was the first time I thought to myself, man, what must this have been like?
Right.
You always have letters to write, and maybe
letters. That's it.
So that would be use technology.
Yeah.
And
I remember when my dad, he was, I guess it was a mobilization to Africa. He used to send like African artifacts home and letters. But when I was deployed overseas, I think it was my first deployment, I used to see video. They used to have USO used to have a video where you can go in there and make a video.
Yeah.
You just got to stay connected with their schoolwork. Hey, read me, XYZ of, what's the report? Keep me informed, because little things like that, they remember. It's not so much of what you can give in terms of tangible stuff, but, the quality time. Because I remember, as a kid, sometimes, I had uncles. I remember going fishing more than I remember them giving me a quarter. Wow. It's just that quality time that will always, resonate with them when they get older.
Wow. And Ralph, real fast, because your father served also, like Boyd alluded earlier, talk about your experience being a child of a father that's deployed. So
I can only just remember, because my dad, he served back. He was a Vietnam vet, right? So as the war came to a close, I was born early 80s. That was about done. So now he's just doing his regular guard or drill. I can only vaguely remember that time he went to Africa and going on, I think he did some missions, peace missions or something like that. But he always used to send stuff back, right? He stayed connected. He made sure that, that we know that he loved us still, regardless of where he at. So I take some of them tenets with me, make sure my kids know that.
And then also talk about the element of your wife, because you're gone for a while, and she has to play different hats while you're gone. So just talk about your wife.
Man, so I'm lucky in that regard. I'm blessed in that regard. My wife, when I tell you home 6, she take care of home. She allowed me to be focused and tunnel vision when it comes to my children. I don't have to worry about, cleaning and cooking and all that stuff. I cook sometimes, but as far as just managing the house, she's number one. So I could just stay focused on the children, tend to their needs, be a provider, Don't have to worry about it. I'm old school. I get paid. My wife get my check.
My daddy used to say, "This is my wife's house. I just live here."
Yep, that's it. I just live in it. I just live in it. Whatever you want. So man, yeah, man. She make it easy.
And it's just awesome just to see, like I see the pictures and how happy the family is, man. It's an awesome thing, man.
It puts in work, man. I can't. Pictures look great. That's what I tell people. The Instagram photos, Facebook, all the photos look great, but it took work. It takes a lot of work, and it still take work. I think we're finally hitting our, what they call it, when you're riding a horse, we're finally getting in our groove. It took some time. We'll be 14 years married November.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I have a question for you.
Yeah,
so you
go ahead.
It work. Can you unpack that for us?
So I believe I'm a counselor. I believe in counseling. I believe in going to counseling. I believe in, relationship is a study. I believe it's a science to it. Just like I talked about my son. Know your wife's love language. Know your partner's love language. Know their sign. Know the characteristics. What drives them. What inspires them. You're gonna fall in love and fall out of love over and over again. But you have to be disciplined. You have to be grounded. Discipline comes, I guess from my background, but we have the same common goal that we want this marriage to work. So you can be mad at me for a second or whatever. You want to go in your corner. I go in my corner, and then we'll after the 3 minutes, we'll come back. We'll be all right. So you always gotta go to the source, man. We got a commonality in terms of spirituality. So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about it, it creates a secure place for your children.
Exactly.
That he could be transparent. He could cry. He could laugh. He doesn't have to worry about, daddy and mommy. They're doing their thing.
Right. And that's what we encourage. It's a high level of emotional IQ.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So
you know what else, Ralph? I'm getting that you're wherever you are, you're in a skiff. My assumption, because you can't, sharing where you're at. So that would mean you don't have your phone on you during the day, during the duty day when you're working. So your babies just can't reach out to you whenever they want. Even though you're CONUS, they can't reach out to you.
Yeah. Unless I email them on the low line.
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
So that makes it that, sticking to that schedule. So they know this is the hour. Daddy's gonna be there, and expect to have daddy there. That
daddy time. That's right.
Yeah. So if when you're not allowed to have any phones or any information like that in the skiff. It's all so you check it in a certain spot.
Yeah. Put it in that box.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I was deployed with Sagittaf, so Special Operations Joint Task Force. So I'm not an operator, but I had to live that type of lifestyle. In terms of the staff on there. So it was very annoying. Every day. Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing is through this conversation. It's about discipline and setting that example, especially from your father. Now you're a father to your son. You're setting those disciplines to add them at an early age.
Right.
So just talk about the significance of just setting an example and discipline.
So I'm always a advocate of show me a sermon. Don't just preach to me, right? I watched my dad. I watched him. I watched him like a hawk. Whatever he did, I try to do. Matter of fact, I got in trouble for driving his car into a gate when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. Daddy did it, I can do it, right? So modeling is like the number one. What they call it? It's the number one thing that a child gravitate to. They see. They are seers. So whatever they see it. So I have to be disciplined in myself. Sometimes if I drink, right, I'm a social drinker. My kids will never see it until they come up of age. We have a conversation. Hey, dad drink is legal. I don't do any drugs. I socially drink. This is what it do. When you get of age, we can have our first drink together so I can watch it. I don't know, man. I'm disciplined in that regard. And you got to have discipline in the house because we're training adults. Even though we're rearing kids, we're training adults. Right. They have to go outside and be productive citizens. We just can't let them just do what they want to do, even in the house. If you can do what you want to do in the house, you're going to try to do what you want to do outside the house. And when the people get you, daddy can't do nothing for you.
It's interesting. That's a term that I only hear used in our culture, training your child, especially with boys, training as opposed to raising or training.
Right.
I think you have, maybe it's understanding, the whole experience in this country is very much based off of what complexion you are.
Right.
And it's a lot more danger. If there's danger, you need to be trained.
Right.
Especially if you're privileged, you get to be raised. You got to be trained.
That's right.
And I know this because I get to live with that privilege. So that's how light I am. So I get it. But I love that you said that. And the first time I ever heard that was my father when I was young. I trained you different. I didn't even say those words.
Yeah.
And then it's cool as a young boy, like you feel a sense of ownership, like an adult. I'm being trained by my dad. Like it's empowering you. It's something that you're part of. It's not happening to you. You're like on a team.
Right.
Team daddy, team last name. And I'm being
right.
for this world. Yeah. I love it.
It's Uncle Mike. You kind of shaking. You got a question?
I'm just enjoying the conversation. This is great. I'm just learning, but I do have a question, Ralph.
No.
So what happened after that? You see this split moment of this. So I mean, it was just so cool to see a dad and son.
The MPs came because he snuck out.
I kept watching it over and over again. It was so beautiful. But what happened after?
After that, man, he had to get up, wash his face, brush his teeth, make his bed. It's time to go to school.
But you did make the game.
Yeah, I made the game. Yeah.
You was there for the game. That is so precious. So precious. Yeah.
And talk about the game experience. How was that like?
Oh man, I put it on my stories, but I guess it goes after 24 hours. The game was great, man. He overexerted himself. I told him, I said, listen, don't play for me, play for yourself. I'm gonna be proud regardless. Just have a good time and play. He scored a touchdown. He made about 3-4 tackles, but he ran too hard a couple times. The coach ran him back to back like 3 times. He broke for like 40 yards each time. He's fast now. He overdid it.
Dad is in the stand. What do you expect? His arrow is there.
Yeah, he overdid it, man. But I was proud of him, man. I've been proud of him. Been keeping up with him the whole season. Been doing pretty good. So it was a good game.
And then also, what about your daughter? Like, what happened after? Like, same thing. Wash her face. She went to school.
She want to go shopping. She want to go shopping. That's my baby. That's my little princess. Gifts is her love language. And plus, she's a Libra, and she's a Libra. Wow. So Libras like trendy stuff.
Watch
they like the new news.
Watch your mouth, save your teeth. Yeah. I just had a birthday 3 days ago. Watch your mouth.
Yeah, it's fun. I know my wife's a Libra. I know about him.
You know, it's funny that you say that with your daughter, because whenever I knew my father was coming home, I would save for something I really wanted to ask him because I knew I could get him. And my mother was not having it. But Pops, he would try to like pacify me for him being gone. So he wanted,
that's right.
yeah. So I knew, and I would like, I got some Harachis from him. Suckers first came out.
Man.
I was scared to death to ask my mother for him. But
Yeah.
that was Pops when he came home. Yeah.
I have another question though. How has the pandemic affected your family? You know, you're serving plus the pandemic. You're here's your family at home.
Yeah.
And how did that, have an impact on your family?
So during the pandemic, actually, my whole family, we all caught COVID at one time.
Oh wow!
And I was actually doing the train up. So it's crazy. So for my duty station, I went home because we had the pre-mobilization training, right? I went home to get some of my home goods. When I was at home, we all caught COVID.
Wow.
Wow.
So we all caught COVID. So everybody in the house got sick. I got sick the worst.
Wow.
And I say I was in fairly good shape, but I had to be hospitalized.
Wow.
And my TAC, my TAC, the superior officers and training NCOs, it's like, hey, how you doing? If you don't show up such and such, we're gonna have to refrag you. So basically, man, I had to heal up, man. I had to pray and heal up.
Can you explain to them what refrag means?
So basically, I mean, once you're ordered to serve, right? You got to go to your duty station, and if you don't go to your duty station, you get kicked off, or you basically get kicked off to somewhere else. You miss your deployment, really. So I was days out of missing my deployment, and that's not a good look on your record. Not at all. So,
how early into the virus did you get sick? What month?
I got the first wave of the Delta, whatever month that was. The Delta.
Wasn't that this year?
Yeah, that was this year. Delta variant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it hit my whole house.
Wow.
So yeah, COVID it affected the house, man. But we some fighters, man. I guess, and blessed.
And blessed. Yeah.
No, definitely, man. And I'm just happy you're here. You're alive. I'm happy that your family alive.
Yeah, me too.
This was a great conversation.
Yes.
Seriously, we got to do this again. But before we end it, what do you want people to know about you and your family who saw that video for the first time and it ended? What do you want people to know about you and your family?
So we are regular folks, man. We're just close knit, right? Our family, the reason why we're so close, we do include other people, but majority of the time it's just us. Both of my parents are deceased. She have her dad is in Connecticut, and her mom's deceased. So our kids don't really have any grandparents. It's really just us, really, and some of our friends. That's why we kind of, depend on us. So when you see the video, when it's just us and somebody is gone, everybody feels it. My son, he's more emotional, but my daughter, she have a reaction. My wife have her reaction. So when you see the video, just know that we're just a tight family. And it's really just us, man. We got a us against the world mentality. We got to
North Carolina.
Say it again.
You live in North Carolina?
Me? No, I live in Florida. I said my wife's well, my father-in-law is in Connecticut.
Where in Florida?
Tallahassee.
Is that close to Eglin?
That's about 2.5 hours.
I got you.
2.5 hours of Eglin. That's a beautiful base.
I'm trying to narrow in what you do in the Army by
figuring I'm a logistic officer.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Are you in 04, 05?
04.
It was me.
Uh-huh.
I go to phase 3 of ILE Sunday. I'm finally
really? Okay.
That's the schooling he and I have to complete.
I love to hear servicemen talk.
Yeah, I do too.
I love
but we have to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's the schooling he and I have to mandatory complete to get promoted to lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
I made this connection. This is a beautiful thing, man. We just
man, y'all keep me
relationship here on the Dad Is Not a Noun podcast. Boyd, right. I love you. Thank you for jumping on. Uncle Mike, I love you. Thank you for jumping on vacation in Virginia. Love you. Mr. Watts, thank you for jumping on. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to your family for opening your home, whether it was 2 minutes, to share that with the world. So thank you for that. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. We're out. Peace.
Thank you, Battle.
All right.